Hello you guys, and thanks for taking a moment to be here. In this video, I want to share part of my story and why I began questioning religion, and how I searched for the truth, and why I have come to believe that Jesus is God. This is personal, and this changed everything. Now, I want to start off by saying that this is not a sermon. It's just what happened to me. I grew up in the church. I went to Sunday school. I learned the prayers. I could quote Bible verses, but none of it made me feel close to God. Not because I doubted his existence. I didn't. I just assumed that he didn't want me. That's how I felt around people. So it felt natural to assume that God felt the same way about me. Now, church showed me how to belong outwardly, how to look like I fit in, but it never answered the deeper question that followed me everywhere. Does God actually want me? What's his will for me? What's his goal in my life? Am I important? Am I part of his plan? I thought I found an answer in the world, in relationships and experiences outside of the church. For a while, it seemed like there was love out there, but it didn't last. I wasn't worldly enough to really fit into the world, and I wasn't religious enough to feel safe or fit in the church. Both felt suffocating in their own ways. Different languages, same pressure, and same emptiness. When I grew up and moved out on my own, I had no boundaries, no rules. At first, I thought this is what freedom actually was, but it wasn't. It just left me confused and empty. Eventually, I started questioning everything. Religion, God, the meaning to life, and that questioning led me to very dark places in my life. I chased pleasure that never satisfied. I numbed myself with drugs and distractions, anything that could quiet the noise that's in my head. It didn't make me happy, it made me lazy. It made me insecure because I was in the cycle, I was stuck in the cycle, and I never could achieve the things that I wanted to do because I was so focused on numbing myself from the night before. And I was constantly failing and trying to forget that I failed. It's like the snake that eats its own tail. You're just going around in a circle. Eventually, I realized I couldn't keep going like that. Something had to give. But I didn't start by trying to find Jesus. I started by trying to find what the truth was. I wanted clarity. I wanted to know what, if anything, made sense. Now, I did believe that the Bible had some truth in it. I just didn't know if Christianity was the logical conclusion from the Bible. Then I found out something about myself, that I was Jewish. My great-grandmother's parents were Holocaust survivors, and they left France to come here and raise their daughter. And that fact changed everything for me. I started reading the Hebrew scriptures seriously. Not like ritualistic or even devotional, but I studied them like a textbook. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to understand what was in these books, not the New Testament, not where I've always learned throughout my growing up years, but in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures. And then something unexpected happened to me. The New Testament actually started making sense because of the Old Testament, not the other way around. Jesus wasn't some disconnected figure. He wasn't a religious solution. He was in the text everywhere. Luke 24 says that in the beginning, with Moses and the prophets, the scripture all points to him. I used to think that those kind of phrases were just a slogan. But reading it carefully and tracing it back to exactly the points in time when Jesus said he was with Abraham or with Moses or with Isaiah, Jeremiah, when you go back and you read it, you can actually see Jesus in there. And it became a key, a way of understanding everything else. Now, the law wasn't random. It had a purpose. Paul calls it a tutor. It leads somewhere. It doesn't trap. And the sacrifices weren't the point. The priesthood wasn't ultimate. They were all pointing and all shadowing something beyond themselves. Even Abraham, before the law, was justified by faith. And that shattered my assumption. That shattered my reality that Christianity was some later invention. The gospel wasn't new. It was embedded all throughout the Hebrew scriptures. And then it hit me. Jesus wasn't a man God happened to use. He is God. He is God who made the world, entered history on purpose, intentional, and fulfilled prophecy, not partially, not symbolically, but fully. The more I read, the more this became prevalent to me. I started noticing Jesus in the law, in the prophets, and the Psalms. History itself started to make more sense in a way that it became his story. Now, God wasn't distant any longer. He wasn't transactional. The promise he made to Israel were the foundation on what every Christian can believe on when he says the promises to them. All of the promises made in Jesus are all resting on the promises God made to Israel. And that includes me in two ways, which is pretty cool. Now, church had taught me to manage my behavior, but the Bible showed me the weight of my heart. The Bible showed me that God changes hearts. Now, religion will always give me or you rules without rest. You have to earn your own way to be good enough. But Scripture shows the rest is in God, not escaping him, but actually facing him head on. This wasn't about abandoning discipline. It was about realizing truth. And truth has a center, and that center is Jesus. Jesus didn't remove responsibility from my life. He actually gave me more of it because he gave me truth and he gave me a gift. And with every great gift comes great responsibility. No pun intended. Now, he didn't affirm my brokenness, but he did meet me there and he fixed me. Once I saw the coherence of Scripture, the unity of the Old and the New Testament, the consistency of God across history, there was no turning back. I can't unsee it. I can't unknow it. Not because it's comforting, not because it feels nice. No, it does both of those things. It does comfort me and it does feel nice, but because it's true. Now, if this sounds like a story that you know all too well, maybe from your own life, or if you know someone that's dealing with this kind of life as well, I encourage you to reach out to your local church. If you feel like there are no good local churches around you, or maybe that you've been fooled by the church before and you can't trust them, reach out to me. I would love to help find a church close to you. You can do that through the comments section. I really appreciate being able to help you through this process. And if you're a parent of a child that walked away, that church hurt them so bad that they couldn't possibly walk through those doors except maybe for your funeral, or at least that's how you feel, just know God's at work. And if you're that person, if you're that kid that walked away because you went to church your whole life and you never felt God, you never felt his presence in a church that tells you you have to, just know it's just a feeling. God is there, always there, whether you feel him or not. And if you want a little bit more emphasis on that, I encourage you to watch my video I did with Hall and Davis, where we talked about worship is not us inviting the Spirit, but the Spirit inviting us. Understand that God is always there with you. He will not forsake you. And I encourage you to focus on him instead of focusing on the feeling of him. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, you know what to do. Please subscribe so we can continue to grow this channel and that we can get the gospel to everywhere that the Lord wills for this channel to go. But I'll tell you right now, one last encouragement. I was a broken human being, desperately addicted to everything the world had to offer. And God saved me. And if God saved a wretch like me, he sure as heck can save someone like you. So have a blessed day. Until next time.